Welcome back to our training series on recruiting the next generation of crime fighters. Thanks again to Safeguard Recruiting for their commitment to providing law enforcement with the resources and tools needed to properly staff our law enforcement agencies and ultimately protect our communities. In the previous video, I asked each of you to open your mind and consider that what we thought we knew about recruiting may not actually be working. In recent years, we have sufficiently blamed others for much of our staffing woes. And I need you to consider that we can overcome what anyone or any group says about us by a winning strategy on recruitment. If we were really honest, if we were really analyze the last 30 years in law enforcement recruiting, we would understand that the successes we had more to do with marketing than with recruiting. That's a big deal because they could not be any more different. I commanded a recruiting team that worked hard, but if I'm going to be honest, we worked hard on a lot of things that had very little to do with recruiting, from pushing positive news to updating our website to encouraging others to tell others about how great the job was. We had some recruiting wins, but for the most part, that's marketing. It's not recruiting. And up until now, it worked. But now it's clear we have to take an actual different approach and have a different recruiting strategy to fill our ranks. Let me give you just one example. I was teaching at an agency recently and a recruiter walked by at one of the breaks carrying a box of squishy police cars. You know, the fun giveaway stuff that most law enforcement recruiters have. She asked if I wanted one. And of course I took it, give it to my kids like everybody else seems to do. But then I asked her a question and it seemed to take her by surprise. I said, do they work? She stunningly asked me what I meant. I said, how many officers are here at your agency because they received a squishy police car? Not only did she not answer me, I don't think I was her favorite person after that, but I was being completely serious. And that is a serious question for you. Whatever your efforts may be, squishy police cars, fancy pens, job fairs, fancy videos, have you actually evaluated whether they actually bring you recruits? I know my unit did not. We didn't have to. We were reaping the praise of filling police academies, whether it was through our efforts or not. And our entire profession got away with this for a very long time, but no longer. It's time to actually recruit. And to do that, you have to know the difference between marketing and recruiting. We should certainly do both, but they are very different things and we should do them for very different reasons. Marketing is for public opinion and recruiting is for attracting new officers. Recruiting is about targeting individuals or groups of individuals and convincing them to go into our profession. And up until now, we simply haven't had to do this. There were plenty of individuals that were choosing on their own to enter law enforcement. I'm going to prove this to you. How many of you were going about life not even considering the law enforcement profession, and you were recruited? Yeah, if you're like me and everyone else I know, you always had the intent to go into the profession, and it just became a matter of deciding what agency you were going to go to. And while it's true that recruiters may have a role in convincing you to come to their agency, for the most part, historically, we haven't actually recruited, we've marketed. All that worked as long as there was sufficient supply of willing candidates. But for many agencies, that is history. And that's likely not coming back. It's what I like to call the 80-20 rule. When I entered the profession 30 years ago, there were more qualified candidates than jobs. And some of you know this all too well. It may have taken you years to land your dream job, right? What does an agency do when there aren't candidates anymore? What do they do when only 80% are interested in the job? Well, you have to recruit the other 20%. Now granted, this number may be different depending on where you are, the reputation of your agency, or your recruiting efforts. But this is why we keep hearing about departments across the nation that are down 10, 20, 30% in staffing. We have continued to market to a market that is only at 70, 80, or 90% capacity. So what do, you ask? Well, you have to recruit. And to do that, you have to think about recruiting in a different way, in a way we've never had to in the past. And if you stay with me in future videos, I'm going to show you exactly how to do just that.